Alright, I have seen Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I feel that I should get a fucking t-shirt given how long that goddamn thing was. And before I offer my full thoughts on this movie, let's talk about Nolan's qualities as a filmmaker, because I do believe that is important. Nolan excels in what I've identified as the no big deal spectacle, meaning that the spectacle kind of appears in an almost minimalist fashion, and it actually works. Nobody else does it quite like him. I would say that Christopher Nolan's best movies generally operate from a sense of urgency, of visceral urgency. Think of the epic escalation of Interstellar. Think of the intensity of Dunkirk. And think especially of Oppenheimer, which is probably my favorite one of his movies. I saw that 3 times in the theater. But I'm not gonna lie, Christopher Nolan has the chilliness of a Jaguar salesman at times, which doesn't make him a bad filmmaker. It just means that, well, he doesn't always have a lot of heart, and I don't think he's much of a poet. He's obviously a smart guy, and he's very good at philosophical issues with this low-key spectacle. I think that's one of the reasons why I loved Oppenheimer so much. It worked with that. And I also think that one of Nolan's frequent collaborators, Matt Damon, he's never ever going to admit this, but I think he understands this. Matt Damon has a lot of heart and is a deeply underrated actor. And he is great in this movie as Odysseus. He has just the right amount of grief, just the amount of heroism. Because Nolan himself can be a chilly filmmaker, that is absolutely necessary. We're talking Homer's The Odyssey here. You have to have a heart. You have to be a poet to really adapt this or understand this. There are times in this movie where I was so frustrated watching this because there were long sections that were cold, chilly, and heartless and stilted, especially in the fucking beginning, the non-Odysseus scenes. I mean, really, Odysseus is the absolute heart of the Odyssey. And Matt Damon knows this and is great in it. Oh my God, if he's not nominated for an Oscar for this, I will be disappointed. But there's that tension in this movie, and I found myself really annoyed at times. Up until the first really big spectacle scene, the Cyclops scene, like, oh, okay, all right, I'm in this. Also, one of the high points of this movie is the Circe scene, where all of the men turn to pigs. Absolutely brilliantly done. Nolan had a perfect panache for that material. Not so much with the sirens. I actually was pissed off that the sirens were really underdone here, and that's ultimately the problem I had with this movie. I mean, I really liked it in the end, but the heartless qualities of this got in the way of me fully loving it 100%. However, Matt Damon saves the fucking day. There is this 10-minute scene in which he's disguised as a beggar, and it is, I was genuinely moved by this. Like, this movie was so empty of heart and empty of poetry until that fucking moment. And he's laying down all the grief that he's witnessed, and it is just so unbelievably moving that I ended up really liking the movie. And I would say 3.5 out of 4 stars, honestly. I wish Christopher Nolan had more of a heart, honestly, but that's me bringing my own big, gushy, poetic, literary heart into my viewing experience. I know other people are not gonna have a problem with it, but I'm kind of a gushy guy, and that's my problem with Christopher Nolan. That's why I will never fully love him. Although I do think he's a wonderfully talented filmmaker, and anybody who's involved with filmmaking should probably see this just to see what he's doing here. So a really wonderful spectacle that I just wish had a little bit more heart and a little bit more poetry. It's, at the end of the day, Christopher Nolan is selling Jaguars, not poetry, so, you know.